Hello, everyone. Welcome to our latest episode. Alex and I are here with Adam. If you don't know Adam, Adam is one of the partners from Buffy Pool and Spike Pool, right? Like you have two?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he is an amazing contributor to the community. He does so many things. He's always there for me. Like whenever I have a question, I just message Adam and be like, hey, how do you do this? And he's like right there. I don't know when he sleeps, but he always answers me. He's amazing. So with that, I would like to ask you, Adam, how did you learn all of the amazing skills you have in coding and stuff? How did you get into that?
Well, coding originally goes way back to wanting to develop multi-user dungeons or MUDs way back in the day, around 2000. So I taught myself how to program. I was working as an industrial electrician and mechanic at the time, actually, and got tired of coming home covered head to toe in grease and decided to do something a little cleaner. So I got into programming. When it comes to Cardano, like you said, just a lot of sleepless nights, basically, figuring things out and helping the community.
That's amazing. Self-taught. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, and it shows, anybody can do something if they put their mind to it, really, and so a big part of what I like about Cardano as well is that it really does seem to be open to everybody and welcoming to everybody as well.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. Self-taught. Wow. Wow, and you're so knowledgeable and helping the community. That is amazing. When did you first get into crypto? Do you remember?
Crypto, yeah, it was January of 2020.
Oh, okay.
Me too. Except I was even later. I was July.
Oh.
Yeah, I had been studying blockchain for a while and trying to think of potential use cases for it and ways that it could be used. I generally deal with more enterprise ERP, enterprise resource planning software. So thinking about how blockchain technology could help in those fields. And then Marco, is always the idea guy. And he's like, well, check out this new ETH thing. And, originally we'd been talking about that and I was like, okay, yeah, it's all right. That seems a little bit overcomplicated. And he's like, well, no, now there's this Cardano thing. We got to check it out. And so he talked me into it and the rest, I guess, is history.
Okay. So that leads me into my other question. How did you find Cardano? So you had Marco lead you in there. So what about Cardano kind of spoke to you and got you hooked in?
Really, I think part of it was just the ambition of the project, just it's aiming to do so much for so many people and all with the security of the blockchain on top of it that, it seemed like it had the science was there. It wasn't just hopes and dreams. And that, realistically, they were taking the right steps. They were doing it slow, taking their time and making sure they thought through all the ideas that it made it seem like the best horse in the race. And so that's the one we settled on and decided to give it a try.
Awesome.
That's cool. So you are a Stateful Operator. What's the origin story of Buffy Pool?
Marco owns a autograph and memorabilia business. So he's been a big fan of Buffy. He's got one of the axes used on the show, in the backdrop for We Are Cardano podcast. And so we were sitting there going, what are we going to call this thing? We were trying to think of names for our business and everything else. And so obviously when you think stake pool, you kind of get that vampire idea in your head. And so we were going around and around trying to come up with names. And we just kind of said, well, what about Buffy and Spike? It's just for this ITN test thing. And so we were actually testing two different pool configurations in ITN to see which one worked best, which is where we got the two pools originally. And the names have just stuck. And so we went with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, there definitely is a Buffy the Vampire Slayer callback there. So
yeah, awesome. I was a fan of the show. Did kind of weird things at the end, but overall fan. But But yeah, so you work full time. I know that you were telling me that, you know, we should schedule a time to talk when you're not crawling in an attic. So I'm not really sure what that means, but like, how do you balance SPO life and work life?
Not sleeping generally. But yeah, no, so I run a managed service provider operation. So, you know, generally it's retrofitting new buildings for clients and wiring them up for networking,
Okay.
installing Wi-Fi or doing those sorts of things. And because I'm the smaller partner, in that case, I usually get to be the one that crawls around through attics and does stuff like that. But no, the majority of my time is spent writing custom code for customers, which
Okay.
is fun.
Wow. So what do you do to decompress? Like, do you have other hobbies?
Yeah, I really enjoyed woodworking, hiking. You know, one of these days I'll finally get my pond going in my backyard. Which is harder than it seems out here in the desert.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really enjoy woodworking. We've got a property up in the mountains that we like to go to and just hang out and decompress, and then going out to the lake and boating and jet skiing. So
Mhm. So when you say like we, do you have a family?
yeah, it's me, my wife of 12 years, and our 2 daughters.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
I think that we're almost there too. We got married in 09. Is that 12? I don't know.
Your
But
husband?
yeah.
You're on 11, so you know you're
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
there.
Close. My husband will be rejoining me in another week. He's still in quarantine. um, but yeah, so I have a like we can talk about the upcoming K parameter a little bit too. I tend to have the unpopular opinion that I don't feel that it's going to make much of a difference. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's, I think, really at this point a reaction to the overall public sentiment, even though not really the right choice at the right time. The promise was always that the K parameter would adjust as the value of ADA rose, to make more pools viable in the ecosystem. And at this point, we're taking those handful of people that are really running a viable small business and slashing their revenue stream, basically. So it's no surprise that we see these large operators just instantly spooling up more pools, which does nothing to actually help the rest of the community be more viable. So unfortunately, are more people going to mint blocks? Yeah. Are more people's delegation probably going to go up a little bit? Yes, but I don't think it's going to solve, you know, the 1,000 pools we have now is going to be 2,000 tomorrow and 3,000 come March.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be people on the outside that want to be on the inside, right? And that's just going to be true of any limited resource system. So, you know, it's a blessing and a curse, I suppose. You know, for a lot of us, you know, Buffy's sitting at roughly 19 million stake right now. So, you know, we're not really worried even about when K hits 1,000 because we're still under saturation at this point. But it's, I think, going to just lead to more of the same for the time being, unless we see something really change with the AO pledge factor come into play.
So I said the similar thing in another talk where I do think that the only real changes that would really happen is if the A naught rose, but then you're kind of kicking the little guys who don't have the money to put up that large pledge. And the original mission statement was anybody could be a stateful operator, doesn't matter, because that was when A naught was 0. So you get all these like balances. It's really hard. I get that, you know, but like I feel like the scream for the K to change, and now it is changing, but then there's people who are compensating for that change by it's not going to help. I think the only really thing that we may see a little bit in is those IOG pools closing, and then those guys need to find new homes. But I think that's the only big move that I really foresee like happening, because the bigger pools are gonna catch their own guys by just like splitting their pools into little pools. And so that's just my opinion.
So
So,
if they also like another question. What do you think would be beneficial for pool operators that are struggling now?
It's hard. It's been hard for us to attract delegation. What I've noticed is that a lot of us just live in a little echo chamber, and we follow each other on Twitter, and we talk to each other in Telegram, but how do you reach the actual bag holders of ADA? Where are they and how do you reach out to them has been the primary struggle for most people. And unfortunately, that's led a lot of people to try to essentially just poach, oh, well, that pool is bigger than I am, therefore I should just try to attract some of their delegators away. But there is still a huge amount of ADA that is undelegated altogether, so there's a lot of people that just haven't even been reached to say, hey, you're leaving money on the table right now. So that's definitely, I think, the primary struggle, and I don't see that changing. Whoever has the biggest, best media reach is going to be more successful long run.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't really blame people for running a successful like YouTube channels or some, or other groups. I think they can, like you said, they've been running a successful small businesses, and now they are forced maybe to open another pools, and this is their personal choice. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, and that's, game theory. We like to throw that term around, but if you've studied it, if you've reached saturation, you're helping as many customers with your storefront as possible. What do you do to grow your business? You open a new storefront over here where there's more people, more customers. So if everybody that has the means to do so is going to do so, that's what you're going to see. So we've heard some people say, I don't have enough pledge. But other people have enough, I guess, presence and an interaction with their delegators to have that ability to just go, hey guys, I opened a new store over here, move over to that one. Where a lot of us are struggling just to get a sign up that goes, hey, I'm over here and I exist.
I know.
So on this kind of topic, like what would you say are a few like challenges that you've had on the way in this whole SPO business thing?
And as far as challenges, I mean, honestly, trying to reach out and engage and interact has been probably the hardest one. For a lot of us, it came from ITN through HTN and now into mainnet. Cardano node, the Haskell code has been beautiful and stable and just works. It really is a solid piece of software. It's not to say that there's not ways that you can do it horribly, horribly wrong and have some sleepless nights pulling your hair out. But for the most part, it's a kind of set it and forget it and come back in 90 days when it's time to rotate the KES keys. So realistically, the hardest part has been, well, I'm great at setting up a server. My stake pool runs, it's solid. It will get blocks if only I can get this delegation. And so delegation has definitely been the hardest strategy. A lot of us, I think, didn't realize we also needed to be marketing and self-promoting and doing those kinds of actions. So I feel like a lot of us kind of missed the ball on that one.
I think I said that in a very early episode, and I say it a lot, like, I had no idea I would have to market, like when I was told I was going to make this pool. So if you remember my story, it was like in July, I was just told I was going to make a stake pool. My husband said I was going to, so I was like, oh, okay, what's a stake pool, So that's what happened. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, so now I have this. And how is the stake supposed to go in? Oh, I'm supposed to somehow, what? So yep. So first I had to learn how to do it, and then I had to learn how to get people to go into it. And of course, I was part of the whole bug of Daedalus not taking my name. So that was fun, so missing that launch out the gate. So it was even more playing catch up. So, but yes, lots of challenges for us SPOs, So
we're trying to help, with the channel as much as we can. But I mean, for us, it's also as bad as for you guys. I think everyone is trying, but it's just a matter that, I don't know where these delegators are really. No one knows.
No one
I mean,
knows. So
yeah.
there's still lots of ADA on Binance. Like, come on, Binance guys, pick a pool, you know? So it's like
Yeah, I mean, Binance, you know, if the parameters will rise, and then the Binance pools, they are they already filled in with ADA? I think they are, right? So like, if the saturation level will drop, they could literally you know, help other pools to like spread the ADA, and they would still get the rewards for the stake or whatever. But obviously they've got like what, 15 pools, and what I'm assuming, they were just gonna open another 15 pools when the saturation level.
We'll see what happens.
But I've seen going on Twitter, like people are tagging, like stateful operators are actually tagging Binance, asking them not to help other stateful operators, you know, if once their stake pool is saturated. But I mean, it's a big fish, so you know.
They are a big fish, and you know, they're doing their locked staking, you know, which suggests that they're probably going to be running private pools that are basically fully at saturation. You know, to my mind, though, the gains are not going to be offset at some point by having to try to keep tabs on 30, 40, 50 pools, depending on what the K value is. So I think we're going to see some people needing to make those decisions based on, you know, how complicated is it to really juggle 50 or 100 stake pools versus just spreading some of that love out to the community and using your funds that way. But of course, they've got their, you know, locked stake 17% ROI or whatever crazy stuff that they're promising, which means they're day trading with your funds, right? Not your keys, not your coins. So we can continue to hammer on that and hope that people come off of the exchanges, but you know, I see that as somewhat unlikely for the time being, and we'll just have to hope for a change somewhere in the future.
And you know, with these things, there's always a small print. So like, I've actually locked my CRO token on Crypto.com because they've been offering 16% in return or something like this. And I thought, yeah, it's not sustainable, but just let's see how it goes. So I've locked not that much on Crypto.com, and they've changed they've dropped the percentage, and then they changed something, they you know, with their fees and so on. So the price of the coins start dropping like drastically, you know, but then you can't do anything because you've locked this coins on the exchange, right? So it's kind of like tricky, but you know, people should be aware that this can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always that fine print, that asterisk, right? You may receive speeds up to a gigabit per second. That doesn't mean you're going to get it all the time, right? So, yeah, whereas, you know, we're showing with just open staking and delegation that, you know, you can expect from a tiny pool to a large pool, you're going to be right in that about 5.5% ROS margin range. And that is a really great thing. You know, that's, I think, the financial freedom. You're in control of your money. Nobody can take it from you. And you are kind of guaranteed to at least get this little bit of passive residual income off of it, which is amazing.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, I want to thank you two for doing the show. It's really early for Adam. It's really late for me. So the time zones is always fun. But yeah, I just wanted to have Adam on. I really enjoy talking to him on social and on Telegram. He's an awesome member of the community, and I just wanted everyone to kind of see him in his awesomeness. So give him some more love to Buffy and Spike Pool, you know, and Alex and CFLOW Pool, and, you know, mine is Deadpool, but, you know, really he needs some more love, you know. So, but yeah, with that, I will say good night to me, and good afternoon to you, and good morning to Adam. So
thank you so much for coming onto our show, Adam. It was
you're welcome, guys.
We had fun. Yeah, thanks. I hope your pool will do great, and you know, we will find these delegators.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And then
Well, a
we'll
rising tide floats all boats. So,
Yes.
thank you guys for having me on.
Of course. And we'll talk more like after December, and we'll actually see what the popcorns are doing, So, so yeah. But yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. Like and subscribe, guys. Help us out. Yeah. Okay. Bye.